Welcome back. We're coming to you all this week from Mumbai in India, and today we're looking at the changing face of Bollywood with producer-directors Vipul Shah and Madhur Bhandarkar. Now, we were looking a little bit at how the influences are changing Bollywood, but Madhur, if I can ask you about Hollywood's influence now, with it being more engaged or more actively interested in Bollywood. Hollywood's known for its use of sex and violence in many movies. How much of that do you see permeating into Bollywood because of the engagement?
No, I think it will be definitely difficult because the kind of culture, kind of traditional India has, and it will be very difficult to them to implement certain things which their perception is. It can be joint ventures, it can be together, but traditionally the Indian, the kind of culture we have, is very difficult to go into that zone.
Now, I want to get an email question that came into you, if I may please, from John in Florida in the US, saying, how embarrassing is it when Bollywood erupts into scandals? Does it get the same kind of attention that Hollywood scandals or worse?
I find it very surprising. I don't find it embarrassing because it's an individual involved in a scandal. The unfortunate part about film industry is that whenever any individual gets into a scandal, the whole industry is blamed, and we are the victims of that hype that is surrounding the industry. I think it is an individual's act and it should be treated like that. Of course, media has a feast when a scandal erupts, and they are all celebrities, so the attention to such a scandal is very high. And but I think in India, the media explosion has just started. It's just 8-10 years old. So the culture of paparazzi is not that high. But I think another 5 years down the line, we will be seriously...
It's already started.
We will seriously be embarrassed by what they're actually going to do.
But paparazzi is chasing people.
Yeah, but I think it should be restricted to an individual, do not blame the whole industry or the entire community for some individual's act.
An email question, Madhur, if I may put to you, that came from S. Anoma in Sydney, in Australia, who's referring to the way song and dance, sort of improbably permeates the story of many Indian movies. Suddenly they break into song and dance. So this email says, can the new blood and changing demographics, especially the emerging middle class, change Bollywood? Will films continue to be made for the masses as an escape from reality?
See, definitely there is a change where recently a lot of movies, if you see Rang De Basanti, I always made my movies, my actor doesn't burst into songs. It has basically background song. All the time I have a background song behind it. And the trend has been started over here also. Slowly, gradually it is coming over here where they all of a sudden can't just break into a song and they are dancing on the street or something. So slowly, gradually it is being implemented and people are following it. And slowly, a lot of other filmmakers will also start, so definitely it will be a trend then. Not having song suddenly all of a sudden and it flows with the film, those kind of traditional things will be started.
Now, Vipul, your film Sing It King used a collaboration with Snoop Dogg, and he did that. It was hugely successful. It would surprise a lot of people to know that actually the music was probably more successful than the film as such, which often happens with Indian films. Were you surprised by that in that case?
I think song and dance has been a very important part of Indian cinema, and that makes Indian cinema unique in its own self. So as Madhu rightly said, that we need to find a better way of involving song and dance into our films. But I'm not surprised at the fact that music does so well. If you look at Hollywood, the rock stars and the pop stars and the singing stars are not part of cinema. Here, they all come together. So when we collaborated with Snoop, it was obviously a big step because we were getting a mainstream pop star or rap artist from America to collaborate into an Indian film. So we were going to attract to both the audiences. So that was bound to happen, I guess.
There's talk that the studio system, that in Hollywood where everything is done under one roof, the production, distribution, filming and everything, may come to India, and maybe perhaps some people fear it'll stifle the creativity and entrepreneurial spirit of some of the independents that currently work under the current system. How much do you think Hollywood could have that compressing effect?
See, definitely when the Bollywood studio comes over here, first thing though, they have to take care of the rip-off which Indian filmmakers are doing. That has to be taken care of. And I'm sure because it will put a lot of stop on this kind of rip-off which people are making, and they'll come with original thoughts. And definitely there will be a major changeover over here where the writers will be respected more. And definitely the filmmaker will thrive with the writer to get something original subject. which will be definitely nice.
And just to elaborate on that, I mean, I have a 2-film deal with 20th Century Fox, and I was having a dinner with Jim Giannopoulos, the chairman of 20th Century Fox, and he was very categorical that in the initial years, 20th Century Fox is going to work exactly like the way Indian independent producers are working. The entire creative control will be in my hands, provided I am able to deliver what we are set out to. Once I deliver, there will be no issues, but if I fail to, then obviously I will be using more of their talent. But I think they are here to make Indian cinema with their sensibilities. They are not trying to make Hollywood cinema in Indian market. So I think that's where it is right now. But in the coming times it may change. As you know that once they come in and their talents come in, it might just change.
Interestingly, Madhur, you know, the issue that Hollywood is often blamed for is stereotyping, and of course there's a lot of Islamophobia. There's people fearing that Muslims are portrayed as in Hollywood. Has that issue ever come up in Bollywood?
No, right now I think we have a very strong secular fabric over here in this country. So I don't think so we have a problem. We have a censor over here. We have a censor over here which definitely sees the movie, and like people say, if there are certain changes or certain points where for fashion it happened, they gave me a certificate. There's certain things they wanted me to cut it in fact initially, but then I said no, because I'll take a certificate, which I took over there. So here we have no problem, but yeah, some individual people definitely opinion their voice over it. Okay, you know, okay, this is not the way shows, you are trying to demean it. That's very stray incidents. You can't blame the whole thing like that. Yeah. So I don't think there's a problem over here. Still now it has not come over here.
And Vipul, 2 of your movies were based on Gujarati plays, and I know you specifically look at the storyline for that kind of importance. How necessary is it to pay attention to sort of traditional Indian stories and so on, rather than as many Indian movies do, which is copy Hollywood storylines and so on? How important is it to go down that route of individuality?
I feel that one of the biggest damages that Indian producers did to Indian cinema was never pay enough attention to writers, never give them due credit, never pay them. And that is why we literally went bankrupt in terms of writers, because writers decided to choose some other medium rather than writing for cinema, because they were not getting any credit, forget the money. The new generation that started making cinema started doing the right thing by paying attention to the writer. And I personally feel that anybody who is trying to copy a Hollywood film should be condemned. And I personally feel that, you know, the studios must take a very strict action against any such producer who is indulging in such activity, because if an Indian film is copied in Hollywood, nobody is going to like it. It's ultimately your creativity.
Well, it's interesting that, you know, that there's some people fear that perhaps the studio system of Hollywood, where the production, the marketing, the distribution all comes from under one roof, will come into India with Hollywood's involvement more here. To what extent do you fear that might stifle some of the creativity that the more entrepreneurial independents here have?
See, definitely, I think if Hollywood comes over here and have collaboration over here, definitely like the rip-off of English movie will be stopped. That is very vital. One has to be there. I agree with Vipul. Okay, that should come with original thoughts, original ideas, and original films. Okay, every second film, if you see, okay, means we like somewhere we sit in a party somewhere, the people say your people don't have anything new. You all just make earlier you all started copying from English film, then you all started from Korean film, and all the different kind of film you all started. And nothing new to say. Bollywood doesn't have new to say. So definitely, the minute the Hollywood will enter over here and they have the offices over here, so those kind of remakes, I mean, this ripping off of English movie will be stopped. Writers will be starting getting respect, and writer will be paid to give kind of new original thoughts, which definitely Bollywood needs.
What you say leads me on to an email question, if I can put this to you, from Carl Eisenbach in Oregon in the USA, who says, when do you think Bollywood might begin to influence Hollywood, and how would this happen?
See, the most important thing is that everybody, in my opinion, everybody feels that, oh, now Indian cinema is having a global impact, and everybody in the world is interested in Indian cinema. I feel that Indians living abroad have started taking very keen interest in Indian cinema, but the other communities of the world have not really they've not started patronizing Indian cinema in such big numbers. But the key point is that we need to have a film which is going to be like a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon coming from China, we need to have films like that to really have an impact on the global market. And I think the atmosphere is getting ready. You know, we are getting there. And in my opinion, very soon we will have maybe the first Indian film really going and making a big impact on the entire global market. And once that starts, that kind of will open the floodgates. We are still, you know, our audience is still very different than a Western audience. And so we are still catering to our audience. And so the day we have our audience and the Western audience having a similar kind of taste, I'm sure we will be there.
And of course, Madhur, the Western audiences are used to having social statements in their films. You are one of the first really to start bringing this kind of social commentary into your movies with the issues you tackled. How important is it that others pick up on this as well, that they start to do more of this?
See, as an individual, I definitely contribute to it, which I feel. But definitely there are filmmakers who are trying to get issues, and recently, if you call about Munna Bhai, if you see, both the Munna Bhai had a very relevant issue of Gandhigiri, if you see. So there are filmmakers who are trying to have entertainment value along with the social message. So slowly, gradually, definitely there will be more filmmakers who will try to elaborate on the issue, not only entertaining the audience, at the same time give a real peg of the issue to the audience.
And they won't have to worry about the commerce, the commercial side?
See, commerce definitely, I said it's a proper blend. It has to be a proper blend. You can't see, I said all films have done very well at the box office, provided it has to blend well with the economics and with the subject and with the message which you give to the audience.
Well, Madhur, I want to thank you very much. Vipul, pleasure to have you with us as well.
Pleasure.
Thank you both. And thank you for being with us. We're in India all this week, and on the next show we look at the divide between the rich and poor in this country. More than half of the population of Mumbai lives in slums alongside some of the most expensive real estate in the world. You can catch us also next week in Kuala Lumpur, where we'll be interviewing key figures from government and look at the issue of censorship in media and the arts. We'll be coming to you at this special time of 1400 hours GMT. From me and the team here in Mumbai and in Washington, D.C., we'll see you next time.